I was extremely rattled about what had happened. The police tried to track down the website, but since there was no way for them to recover my history, and I had originally found this sick site by just randomly clicking links, it seemed rather pretty hopeless to find it. The police told me to change all my information about myself and to move in with a friend. After changing pretty much all of my information, I decided to move in with my friend David. David was an extremely honest, hardworking person. He never went to parties, slacked off, got high or drunk. He was very dedicated to finishing college. In fact, he was one of the few kids I knew at the time who wasn't getting on the deep web regularly. I had told him all about my experience with the deep web, and that's mostly why he agreed to let me stay with him. One night, we were both studying very late when my phone went off. I looked to see who had texted me and saw that the person sending the message had no number, just like last time. It read, "Check your computer." There was nothing else to it, just one simple instruction. I opened my laptop, and when I did, I noticed that I didn't have control of the mouse. I tried to move it, but the mouse had just moved on its own. Someone had remote access to my computer somehow. I never gave anyone remote access before. I tried a whole bunch of keyboard commands, but not a single one worked. I noticed that whoever had control of my laptop was downloading a software, most likely malware, but there was nothing I can do. I heard my phone go off again, and this time the message said, "Look out your window." I was sitting right by the window. I didn't know which window the guy was referring to. So I looked out the one I was sitting by, and a man, in the parking lot, was leaning against a white van. He had a phone in his hand, and when I looked at him, he nodded. My phone went off again. "Type in and hold down Shift Alt 5 at the same time to activate the software." I called in David to my room to show him what was going on. He seemed just as nervous as I was, but with the man just outside our window, we didn't want to anger him. David called the police right away and told me that they would be there soon. I didn't activate the software and just sat there. Eventually I got another text. "I am coming in if you don't do it right now." I didn't know why he or the person in control of my computer couldn't do it, but I didn't dare to ask. At the same time though, I was 99% sure this program had malware or spyware or something that would be very harmful to my computer, so I refused to activate it. David grabbed a baseball bat just in case the man outside tried to come in. About 5 minutes later, we heard the doorknob turning. It was locked, but we then heard banging at the door. We both freaked out, and I looked out the window again. Sure enough, the man and the van were gone. The banging on the door got more and more violent, until eventually, we heard a horrible scratching noise. It lasted a few more minutes, and then we heard footsteps walk down the hall and eventually fade away. I received another text. "We will be back." That really got to me. When the cops arrived, they told me to look at my door. I followed them back out into the hallway and saw engraved in our door my name. The police began investigating the whole building, and they had a tech police officer come in and look at my computer. We began to do scans and investigate the weird software on my laptop. Eventually he managed to close and remove it and told me that my laptop isn't safe. He said the core files of it had been hacked into or corrupted. We did a complete wipe of my laptop, and he looked at my phone as well. Just like last time, he couldn't tell where the messages came from, and told me that they would be sure to keep some cops nearby in case this ever happened again. The next day, I had just got home from school and was really tired. David wasn't home yet, so I went into my room and fell into the bed. I had just begun to close my eyes when I heard a rattling sound in my closet. I lifted my head up and didn't hear it again. so I went back to sleep. After a few minutes, the closet door swung open. I leapt out of my bed and saw a man with a mask walking over to me. I ran for the door and slammed it behind me. I ran out to the parking lot, started my car, and drove away as fast as I could. By the time the police arrived, the man was of course gone. The apartment surprisingly hadn't been wrecked or anything. We didn't even find anything stolen. He didn't seem to do anything at first. This night, 2 police officers were monitoring everyone who came in and out of the building in order to catch the man. I opened my laptop and noticed that my wallpaper had changed. It used to be a bunch of old trees, but had changed to a sickening photo of a man with a mask, the same mask that I saw on the man who was in my closet, digging a knife into a baby's eye in what looked like a small cabin. I also noticed that all my applications and programs were gone, and I saw the same software as last time, right in the middle. I clicked on it, and it had already been installed. Just like last time, it filled the entire screen, and what looked like a live stream was going on. I couldn't exit out, and the live stream was coming from a boy's house. He looked about 13 or 14, and was at his computer. It didn't take long for me to see that I was watching through his webcam, and he had no idea. I saw a small chat box pop up in the top right of the screen, and in it, someone typed in the box, "Welcome to our live stream. We are glad everyone could be here. Thank you, John, for being here as well." My eyes got very wide. My name was John, and they were waiting until I was watching to start the live stream. As I watched, I saw that the closet door behind the poor boy slowly opened, and a man walked out with a toolbox in one hand. He quickly set the toolbox down and pulled out some duct tape. He went behind the kid and put the tape over his mouth and grabbed it tight. The poor kid's face was of total fear. He tried to scream, but he couldn't because of the tape. They were making a decent amount of noise, so it told me that the kid must have been home alone. I tried hard to exit out, but I couldn't. I then saw the man take out a screwdriver and drive into the kid's chest. Blood began to pour out, and the kid made an awful, wheezing type noise. I saw tears come from his eyes as this sick man began to drive the screwdriver deeper and deeper, and then yank it out. The man then took out a hammer and smashed the kid's hands several times until they were nothing more than a mangled, bloody mess. I tried every command I could to exit out, but nothing was working. I noticed that in the chat box several people were cheering the man on and requesting him to do different things to the boy. The man then took out a handheld electrical saw, pressed it against the boy's face, and turned it on. The boy screamed with pain as the saw went up into his eye, causing blood to go everywhere and get on the camera a little as well. I started to get tears in my eyes as I couldn't stop it. Then, the man took the screwdriver, gouged the kid's eyes, and took out a large knife. He proceeded to slit the boy's throat and toss him to the ground. I was sick. I threw up all over the floor, and when I looked up, I saw in the chat box people typing in horrible things like, "Oh my God, this was so wonderful. Thanks so much for doing this." In the box, I saw someone named Culture45 type into the box, "Thanks for watching, John." After that, the program closed on its own, and I was left with a sickening wallpaper. I was sweating, breathing heavy, and feeling sick. Throughout the entire thing, I didn't realize that my phone had gone off several times. I looked at it, and the most hateful, mean messages were coming from my friends and family. I asked my mom what was going on. She texted back, "You sent that sick, disturbing live stream to everyone. I can't believe who you are. The police have been called." I felt even more sick than before. Those monsters had sent the live stream to all my friends somehow and made it come from me. They had pretty much ruined my life within a couple minutes. When the police arrived, I told them everything that had happened, and quickly they managed to explain to all my friends and family what had happened. They really cracked down on finding these people, and a month later 4 men had been arrested. One was Culture 45, the other was Admin 1, and the other 2 were just others working for them. The site was found and shut down as well, and I got a new laptop and phone. I could say some horror cliche here and say something like I kept getting texts, or kept hearing weird things ever since, but none of that happened. They were arrested, and I never heard anything further. It's good to know that those men are in jail and perhaps even dead. But what scares me is all the other people watching that live stream, who were there for pleasure, are still out there, and that there is probably thousands of other Culture 45s out there, all over the world. If you ever go on the deep web, make sure you're as careful as possible.